Hey guys, welcome back to the Wild Courage podcast. Today I'm in the barn in Emmett with Mark Miller. Hey buddy, thanks for coming over here this morning and jumping on here with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I actually met your brother Rudy, probably a year or so before I met you through some mutual friends. And then I think the first time we met is when you showed up at a fire with Rudy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think Rudy was there the first time I went.
Really? You came by yourself?
I did. Me and my younger brother did.
Sam.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Were you scared?
I was. Yeah, we could dig into that. Just, I remember it being very scary, but also very hopeful because I had listened to the podcast it was like a week before I went. And I remember listening to the podcast. I got to meet some of these guys.
You're like, oh crap, what am I getting myself into?
I was like, I had no idea what I needed as far as healing goes, but I knew I needed something.
Yeah, you're like, what in the world is my brother putting me into?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to talk more about Rudy, but we'll get into his story. Mm-hmm. I'll get him on here sometime. But yeah, we all fell in love with Rudy. I think the first year he came, he didn't say a word. He just sat there like...
It's still a joke to this day.
I know. He still kept coming though. And then the first time, like, it was somebody new. It was somebody like, I think it was Greg, looked at him one time and was like, do you got anything to say or what? And we're all like...
I think it was great. He was like, I want to hear from you.
Yeah. Which was like perfect timing.
Yeah.
And then we all listened. You could have heard a pin drop. It was awesome.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So you have 2 brothers and 2 sisters?
Here?
No.
All together.
Yeah.
I have 6 sisters.
What? See, I love this, but I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have 6 sisters and 2 brothers as well. So there's 3 of us brothers all together. And I am in the middle of us 3 brothers, but I'm also like the 3rd youngest. So I'm like one of the younger ones.
Of 9?
Of 9. Yep.
Dang. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's the record for siblings on the podcast.
So far, right?
Did your older sisters help raise you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How old's your oldest sister?
Now she is, I believe she just turned 33.
So she's 10 years older than you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that many, I mean, your mom is so outnumbered.
Yeah.
That majorly. They have to pitch in and help.
Yeah.
Because there's no way. 9.
Yeah. Yeah, they would definitely, like my older sisters would definitely be like, take charge, and take the kids doing stuff, school, homeschool most of my life anyways. So they would help teach, Where
were you born?
I was born in Wisconsin. And that, I don't remember hardly anything.
Wait, you don't remember being born?
No. But as far as living in Wisconsin, it was like, I don't remember
being there.
Yeah, it was just like we left when I was 2 years old, and
so
moved.
Almost all of you were born in Wisconsin.
Yeah, all 8 of us siblings were, and then my younger sister, she was born in Montana, where we had moved to.
Why did you move to Montana?
So my parents were in an Amish community, and I was born Amish, and there was just a lot of things going on in that community that my parents did agree with. They did not like where it was going. And they started digging into the word of God and actually starting to see like how it's not lining up with what, the preacher, all these other head leaders are telling them, like what's up, But my parents were like, this can't be true. So they started reading the word and they started figuring out like, what are we doing? So they started asking questions. So from what I understand is my dad was just like, we need to get out.
What? I want to have so many questions.
Yeah.
So your parents were born into the Amish community?
Yeah. Yes, they were. My dad was born in Indiana, and then my mom was born, I think she might have been born in Indiana as well, but they had separated they were apart for like many years, and then after a while they got into the same community and ended up finding each other. But
What generation is your family in America?
sorry, what?
What generation, like, were your parents, did your grandparents, were they born in America?
Yeah, they were. Yep, they were. And most of like what the Amish, like they come from, most of the Amish, they come from like Switzerland. There was a Swiss German people in Switzerland, and they had moved from Switzerland to the U.S. back in, I don't even know when, but that's kind of how the Amish community got started in America.
So you don't know, like, if your great grandparents were from Switzerland or not? You're not sure?
Not exactly.
Yeah.
No.
I've been to Pennsylvania quite a bit, and Ohio, so I've, especially in Pennsylvania, been around the Amish community, like a little bit, just seeing them on the roads and stuff. Like, but I think that there's probably a lot of people that don't understand really that community. What was your? So you guys moved to Montana when you were 2. So
Correct. Yeah.
you don't remember growing up in that particular community that your parents left at all.
No, and all I hear is, stories, and we've gone back over the years. We've gone back a couple times just to see family, because there's so many people that I do not know that are either my first, second cousins, or they're just my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents. I don't know my grandparents very well at all, and like I have no connection with them.
Because when your mom and dad decided to leave, I would imagine that kind of, did they get like disowned somewhat or something?
They did, yeah. They got shunned. Even to this day,
they got shunned.
Yeah,
that's the right.
And like us kids, we're not technically shunned, so we can go and eat at their table.
But your parents can't.
But my parents cannot.
No way.
No, they're not even technically supposed to in the community. I don't even think they're supposed to like offer them food. It's the weird. I don't even understand it. I don't really have a heart to really understand why the Amish culture is the way that it is, but it's a lot of things that are just sad.
That's really painful, I would imagine, for your parents. Like, my mom grew up LDS, and when she married my dad and left the church, she experienced being discommunicated somewhat. There was some healing and reconciliation, and she was accepted back by her parents. But that's scary to leave everything you know and everyone you know to be like, something isn't right here.
Yeah. And also to pack up 8 kids,
Did they know anybody in Montana?
They did. So we have multiple cousins, and my dad has some just like first cousins that lived in a small community in Libby, Montana. And which is funny because Justin Stumball, he's from
Libby.
Yeah, he's close by, and my parents know his parents as well.
Small world.
Yeah, but we moved into that small community, and that's kind of where like my base of like what was home. That was it, and from the age of 2 to 8. And it was like that's where I did my running around. I started going to school there. And just a lot of good memories, just especially as a kid. You play. That's it.
Yeah. When you say community, so is it like a break off of the traditional Amish community of like the community that you were born into? Were they like no cars, like what we all seem to know as Amish, like
Correct. Yeah,
no electricity, no
very strict.
Yeah, no modern amenities.
Yeah.
And so your parents left that, and had a somewhat of a soft landing place in Libby, but it was still an Amish community, but a different like sector of it or something. I don't know the right language.
Yeah. So when this community that we had moved into Libby, they were also learning like my parents, which I feel like kind of brought them together because they were all asking questions. And I think when we lived there, it was like everybody was asking questions like, does any of this even like matter? Does it align with God, And so it was a good landing place for our family for a while.
What was that community like? Did you guys like dress all the same? Like, was it?
To start with, yeah, we still drove the buggy. We still,
Oh,
everything was still Amish. And my parents were one of the first, if not the first people in that community to buy a vehicle. I remember we bought this Chevy Suburban and we shoved all 10 of us in there.
were you like, what is happening right now?
I think we went to Pizza Hut that day. We were living it up.
Dude, do you remember that?
I remember some of it. Yeah. I remember my dad buying his first truck and like how exciting it was. Like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But like no understanding of, rules and of the community, Amish rules that they have. There was no understanding of that as a kid. You just,
you're just a kid. It's what you know.
So
do you have any memories of like riding a buggy and?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, we still have it to this day. It's parked in my dad's.
That's awesome.
Dad's old shop. Well, it's an old barn that was on the property, but he has it parked in there. But it's got like 2 seats, I believe, and then it's got like a little, like a 4-foot section or a 3-foot section in the back, kind of like a little truck bed, But we used to sit back in there with our little. We had this buggy blanket. We call it the buggy blanket, but it's this heavy duty, just thick blanket, and we would, cold mornings, you don't have any heat. You can't turn the heat up, so you just throw that thing on you
and cuddle up.
Yeah, go to church. It's only like 3/4 mile down the road, but still,
it's better than walking.
Yeah, but I remember that. Yeah,
that's nuts.
For sure.
And just like you all your brothers and sisters, you all dressed the part and dressed the same.
Exactly. And then in that, like learning of my parents just starting to ask questions about all these things that are like, do they align us with God? And is it lining up with what God is saying? And so there was a lot of things that happened in that community as far as just men getting together and disagreeing and stuff like that. So there was a lot of tension there.
Especially when your dad bought a Suburban. I bet that was probably
it's kind of crazy because the whole community was kind of going that direction anyway.
He was just the first.
Yeah. So, and it did get better after a while, but my parents then, in like 2008, my parents had just kind of discovered more of like what God is trying to listen, what God is trying to tell them and where he's trying to take them. And I mean, obviously looking back now, it's like, yeah, I mean, look where it got me. It got me here. Right. And so I guess God's journey is very, it's so beautiful in its own way.
Yeah.
But so my parents, they started getting into more like Hebrew roots movement and started like digging into, keeping the Shabbat, the Sabbath, and then also just, having all the celebrations, Sukkot and, first fruits and Passover. And we started doing all those things. And that was in Libya as well. And again, not understanding, just a kid, right? But I understood that there was change going on and things were going to be different. And in that, my parents were like, well, they felt like they needed to really lean into that and started like actually reading the word even more and started thinking, just started taking all these holiday stuff and like applying them to life, like having Passover and like keeping the Sabbath.
All the feasts.
Yeah, all the feasts. And
did the community follow or is it just your family?
It was just my family. And then that kind of separated us from the community as well. And so then my parents started looking for a new place and they ended up finding a place up north in Idaho. And we looked around for many, many months, I think. And it was just finally one day we were like, oh, we're moving. And my dad had spent a year on the property that they still live on now. He had spent a year and built a shop. And there was like a couple barns on the property as well, but it was just a shop. It was a bare land. He built a shop, no plumbing, whatsoever, barely any electricity. We had solar panels. And on that property with that shop, we lived in that shop, all of us, the whole family.
On a concrete floor?
On a concrete floor. And there was upstairs, it was like one of those just lofts, you know, how the roof comes
Open,
down
yeah.
like that. And it was small. But all 9 of us siblings slept upstairs, and we had a curtain for the girls, and then us guys would sleep out in front.
And a wood-burning stove.
And a wood-burning stove, and we took all our baths, and, well, every once in a while we would have a bath in the front of the stove, you know, with actually some heated water in a little tote, you know. And we had outhouse outside, and we would just use that. And
how old were you when that was happening?
When we moved there, I had just turned 9.
Oh, so you remember all of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this was exciting. At the same time, it was also very, very sad, because it was like a lot of those memories from the previous place, right? We've done, you know, grief courses now, and it's like part of those things show up. It's like when you leave certain things, like that causes grief, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of memories in that old place where it was just joy. For a kid, it was just joy, and that's all that was. And those are the memories that you want to remember.
Did you have friends in the community, or did you mostly just play with your siblings?
It was
in Montana?
definitely cousins, a lot of cousins that we used to play with all the time. And we get together and just have a good time. Go out in the woods.
What's fun? What was fun? Like in Libby, what'd you guys do? Was it just, I mean, I ask because you're not that old, so the video game television era was definitely in full swing.
Yeah, but it wasn't
not for you.
Not in our house. No.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, fun was being outside.
Yeah,
and you know, we'd have all the tag, freeze, like we would have all these games that we make up, or you know, it was just all outside running games, anything just active. Or, you know, if you just had afternoon off, you would go mess around in the barn. You go slide around the hay, you build forts, you know, and stuff. It was just
creative.
Yeah. And we always had chores, so we always had to go and, you know, milk the goat and feed the horse and feed the chickens and all that, you know. So we always had chores. We always had, you know, somewhat responsibility to, you know, just do little things throughout the day.
Yeah, well, I imagine with 9 of you, your parents had to be pretty organized to keep everything moving in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. They had a lot of hands to help, though.
Yeah.
You know, and then a big garden, too. So we would have the garden, and if we wanted to mess around, we'd go play around in the garden, pick a couple of carrots or something, munch on them.
Yeah.
Radishes, you know, it was
good, clean,
everything was
fun.
just out. Yeah, everything was just outside.
Even in the winter.
You know, you go out there with your little sled and find a little hill, make snowmen and throw snowballs at each other and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. When you moved to Montana, was there any community there, or was it just your family? Or when you moved to Idaho?
Moved to Idaho, there was no. So we tried moving with a family that we had been close with, and that whole thing kind of has its own story.
It didn't work out.
No. And so my dad ended up buying a big piece of property, and his plan was to divide it up, and there was going to be at least 3 families, if not more. And we were hoping to kind of build a community there as well. And it just never really happened. So my dad ended up buying a whole bunch of land that he ended up having to pay for at the end of it, which he's happy about it now. But it's like his plan was to, you know, like section it off to certain families and have them close by and create a community. But there was no one there, you know.
Yeah, in that community is like the thought of 3 families, like, okay, somebody's going to raise meat, somebody's going to do a garden. Is it like kind of sharecropping like that in that community living?
Yeah.
Was that the plan?
Yeah, that was the plan. You know, live that community life.
How does your dad buy all that land?
He's just built log homes.
So
he's a rich man.
When you moved to Montana, that's what he did.
Yes. And he did that in Wisconsin even. He would take, and the part of the connection too from Montana to Wisconsin was also, my dad built log homes in Wisconsin. And so he would have the the company that was building the log homes in Montana, they would ship houses,
the
just
logs.
just ship them all to Wisconsin, and then my dad would put them up.
And
so
would they
that's what he
take them
did.
back down and then move them to wherever and reassemble them?
Yep. Yeah, and he's still doing that to this day. Every once in a while, he has other things going on, but he has another guy now that builds his log homes for him, and then he goes and finishes them out, put the windows in and everything. And yeah,
he made good money building custom log homes.
And also with the Amish, like the thing is, like, they're so frugal. Like, they don't take much. Obviously, you don't have the electricity, you don't have the cars, you don't have all those bills that you have to pay for. So it's kind of efficient as far as just, accumulating things. How
does money work in the community? Like when you lived in Libby, is it like...
I don't really know how it worked in that community at all. Yeah, I don't know.
But so when you moved to Idaho, your dad bought this land, and then the other family things didn't work out with the other people moving to the community. So it was just you and your siblings and parents on that land. And your dad had a vision for something that didn't work out. But in the meantime, he's building custom log homes. Like, we're not talking like little 800 square foot little house on the prairie homes, right? Like, no. He's building houses for very wealthy people.
Yeah. 23,000 feet or 2,200 feet. Just big houses.
And Amish are known for these skill sets that have been lost with modern technology. And it's been taught from generation to generation. And as much as the stereotypes of the Amish, it's like also people are very honoring to that community for what they're able to do because of the craftsmanship that you guys grew up.
Yeah.
Because I would imagine at some point you are learning as a young man some of these trades, right?
100%. Everything that I know as far as construction wise is because of that. Because of my dad building log homes and being well rounded in construction and being very creative too. Like, I remember a lot of moments where my dad, he would take certain situations in like a construction standpoint. He would take situations where it'd be like, you could almost see his creativeness kind of kick in and be like, oh, I can change it up so it looks better. So he would do those things. And I feel like now looking, I feel like I do that sometimes as well. Like, I'd look at certain things, I'm like, how can I make that better? And be like, I use my creative mind to make it look pleasing to the eye,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what Dad had a lot of, just he paid attention.
What a risk taker. To leave everyone and everything you've ever known twice and be like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel, it probably, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it doesn't take much to make the leap of like, this feels a little manipulative. Like, there's some power struggles going on here that doesn't land right or align with God's word for him to take those kind of risks and uproot everything he's ever known and to buy Suburban.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Yeah.
Some balls.
Yeah.
And your mom is, how do you think she, because it's one thing for the husband to be like, hey, I think this is wrong. But how scary for her to just go along with it.
Yeah.
But I would imagine, like in a lot of religious cultures, the woman's very subservient and you do what the man wants to do, right? Is that sure how it went?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My mom definitely, and knowing my mom, like, she's a very, very sweet woman. She's so kind. And that's how the culture is.
Yeah, I met her for 7 seconds one day and I could tell. I'm like, oh yeah, she's got a mama's heart for everyone, not just her 500 kids.
Oh my goodness. There was times where, like, and that kind of reminds me of times where my mom would sometimes, and it kind of felt like a little, I felt a little sad sometimes because my mom would almost go out of the way for other people first, before like her own kids
Yeah.
sometimes, which is kind of sad. But yeah, she just has that mother's heart.
And
And
are your sisters like have that? Do you feel like?
some of my sisters are very much like my mom, yeah. And some are very creative and like just more just out there. But yeah, there's only a couple of my sisters that are really like my mom as far as just that mother's heart and like just do anything.
Well, with 9 of you, there's lots of opportunity for it to go lots of different ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So growing up now in Idaho with no community, you're just with your siblings. There's no cousins. There's no
Yeah.
second cousins. There's no, and is that when you were like entered into homeschooling and you're,
For me, personally, we had started homeschooling in Montana. So when I was young, I started going preschool. I think I went to school for like the community school. It wasn't like a
homeschool?
Yeah.
It was like a true community. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you're this person's
we
the
had a little
teacher.
schoolhouse, and I went there for, I think it was like my first year, my first grade. And I went, and in that year, there was a lot of things that I didn't really know, like what was up with me. Why can't I learn? But my parents also saw that. They saw that I was having a harder time learning and actually, paying attention to school. And so they kind of I think they pulled all of us out of school and they just started homeschooling us in Montana. So we had gone from homeschooling in Montana and then also homeschooling, just finishing out school.
What did that look like?
It's only 8 grades.
Oh,
So yeah, like the Amish community.
So you're done at 13?
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it was
Because
just.
then you go to work.
Exactly. You start working, right?
You're strong and able enough to go to work.
Yeah, you're doing school in other form,
support
right?
the community.
Yeah, it's like a different form of
education. Which I think is not a bad way to go.
It's not. It's really not. I mean, hands-on, right? You're learning, everything is visual, everything is like...
Which every
you're doing it.
Boy,
right?
like to sit in a classroom, dude. Yikes.
Yeah.
So your mom...
My mom did
all of your...
Yeah.
All of you. How did...
Yeah, and cooks and clean. And, it's just...
How?
Overwhelmed.
How?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know how my mom did it.
What did school actually look like, though? Like, was it reading, writing, arithmetic?
Yeah, it was like
history?
The basics. So you got your English, you got your history, your math, and then like your geography.
Because the native language is German, right?
It is, yeah. And I don't remember the switch as much, but I remember in Montana, I don't think I knew like a lick of English.
Really?
Yeah. And it's like, because that was the common language that was spoken in the community and all around us. Like that was our world, right? That we were in that bubble, and there was no outside influence of like other kids, that don't speak German. They're only going to speak English, right? And then
wait a minute,
having to figure that out.
How do you remember the first time you saw an airplane fly over? Like, what in the world? Like, Dad,
what is that, right? Yeah.
Why? What's happening here? What do I see? Like, how? I'm just fascinated by living in America in this community, speaking German until you're how old? When did you start learning English? When you moved to Idaho?
When we started going into preschool and started actually doing school, right? Because then everything's written out in English and you're starting to have to learn the words that you're trying to read, and like everything's in English, right? There's no...
So 5, 6 years old,
yeah.
You're starting to like learn a new language, which is the best time.
Yeah, it's a great time to start learning. So that's kind of when I started. And still to this day, like when I go home, my parents and I will just talk German.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's a cool, like, that is one of the only things I can really take away from the whole culture is that the language that came out of it is like, that part is really cool. Like, I
That's
love
amazing.
that, and I hope that one day I can teach my kids at least enough to be like, understand,
For sure.
and that's my hope. But yeah.
That's crazy. I knew that there was German spoke, but I didn't know that you didn't learn English till later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're in Idaho and your mom's homeschooling all of you, like, did you get grouped into ages? Like, okay, you three are all learning the same thing. I know you're not the same age, but there's no way she could individually be like, okay, Mark, you're in 2nd grade. Rudy's in 4th grade. You know what I mean? Like, how did that go?
It was just, we would all just sit at the table and we'd do
She would individually go around to each one of you and be like,
if we had a question, we'd be like, I have a question.
But at this point, your parents are like, Mark's falling behind, even in homeschool.
Yeah, even in homeschool, for sure. And it's funny now, but I would, try to avoid as much of it as possible.
Like volunteering to do any chores.
So I'd drag it on, until it was too late and be like, oh, you just finish it tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, I want to finish it tomorrow. Secretly, I didn't even want to finish it at all.
Yeah.
But I would just try to avoid just doing my homework, and because it was, I don't know. I didn't like it. I couldn't get my mind to be like, I want to learn this and like, it'll help me out. There was no like, it was just my mind didn't want anything to do with it. And I just kind of like, you're forcing me to do it, but like, I don't want to.
Yeah, you feel froze up inside. That's how I felt too. School was not my friend. So,
yeah, we just sit on the table.
So did you just go through to 8th grade?
Yeah.
Bumbled through it as best as you could?
Yeah. And then like my older siblings, so like my sister right above me, she would, she's smart. So she would go through all her school for the day and like, barely have any questions for mom, so she could kind of do it herself. And so, but then it was like for us younger ones, there was 3 younger ones that were trying to also learn school. And it was like, I was the oldest out of us 3. And yet I still felt like I was falling even below
the youngest.
My youngest.
Yeah.
And
at this point, are you still living in the shop?
We started living in the shop. We lived in there for like a year when we first moved there. So we lived in there for a year. And then during that process, we built a house that my parents live in right now.
And were you all a part of building it?
We were, yeah. And we had,
cool.
Yeah. And it was super awesome. Like I remember moments of just because we would have people over too from like the community. There was like, I think it was like a weekend or something where a whole bunch of people from the Libby community came out to our place.
So it wasn't a bad breakup then?
No, it wasn't bad. But it was just like, as far as religion, belief, like that was clashing.
Tension,
so yeah, for sure. And
so you built that house in a hurry?
We did. Well, it took a year. I mean, my dad notched every single log.
I was going to say, there's a lot of, when you're building log homes, it's not the putting together. It's like Legos. Like you got to build all the pieces.
Exactly. Yeah. And so he had to notch out all the corners and stuff. So, he would do like 1 or 2 rows of logs on the house a day, and progress. We'd have the older siblings, they'd be out there peeling logs, and us kids, most of the time, we just go out and clean up, where we can.
And meantime, your dad's building homes still for a living.
He kind of took a break for that, and he just simply just dug into that and just built the house as soon as possible. And then after that, just went right back into building log homes. Then he still like took the houses from the Libby community. He would still build for them. So he would take their houses and go different places, wherever that was.
Like traveling?
Traveling a lot. And go, to Colorado, and all those different places.
Oh, so he would travel to go assemble the houses and be gone for weeks, months at a time?
Weeks at a time, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that being hard? Or were you just so used to it that it wasn't like, no, Dad's
It
leaving?
was so, yeah, I was very used to it. And it wasn't, there was a lot of things to do. As a kid, it didn't really,
Yeah,
there was just a lot of things to
Yeah.
do, so you didn't really pay attention. Like Dad's gone, like
It's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And in this new house, your dad's got to figure out, is there plumbing, electricity,
Yeah.
stuff he's never built before?
He's done it before because
Oh,
all those other houses.
Oh, okay,
you know?
they had it.
So yeah, my dad's like, he's a good plumber, he's a good electrician, like he's very smart in all the. It's like he could build a house from nothing, do everything by himself. He's that type of person.
This might not.
He would do everything by himself.
Yeah, this might not be important, or you and probably don't remember. Like, but is there exemptions in the Amish community, like getting building permits and legal things like that? That you
I don't. Oh, as far as like how
Like-
it's supposed to look,
no, like codes, like
but just in the Amish, or are you talking about
Yeah.
like government?
no,
issues?
like in the
Okay.
Amish.
Yeah, for sure. So it's like it has to be plain, like it has to be like one color, or like you can't have the siding and trim be like different colors. Really, I don't know. There is some of that, and I don't know some of that. I don't really know.
Yeah, and
But-
it's not that important. I just didn't know if like, do you remember it? Like being excited about like having a bathtub with like running water and
Yeah,
flipping
for sure.
the switch and stuff.
My parents got a little jacuzzi or whatever in their bathroom. I remember it was like, oh,
What?
dude,
What
that's
is
cool.
this?
Yeah. So
How old were you when you moved into that house?
I would have been around 10. Yeah, I would have been like 10 years old.
Were you so excited?
Oh my God.
How many people were in your room now
You mean like in the house?
in the new house?
So us three brothers, we all lived downstairs in the basement, and we just had one big room, and we'd have two beds. My younger brother and I would share a bed, and then Rudy would get a big
Figures
bed.
Rudy has his own bed.
But there would be nights we would take turns. We were like, Sam would go over and sleep next to Rudy, or I would go over there and sleep next to Rudy. So we would like
That's
switch
awesome.
off, you know?
And all
yeah.
through like your teenage years, that was how you
Yeah.
guys lived.
Yeah, and when Rudy, like, when he moved out and got married, then it was like, you know, Sam and I were just,
We get our own beds.
we got our own beds, you know?
Most people are
Well,
like,
even though we could have had our own beds, we didn't.
it's just what you're
We
used
just had
to.
one bed, you know?
Yeah,
And all through my teens,
that's awesome.
just sharing a room.
Do you remember like, was it a Band-Aid with when you guys moved to Idaho of like, what was anything still off limits? Did you guys all still dress the same?
Oh, no. Yeah, it was a lot of things that changed. Dress, everything. There was no
So you're wearing
limit.
blue jeans
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
and like
I don't think my sisters wore like,
jeans.
no, they didn't. They started wearing like sweatpants and stuff like that. There was no limits really anymore.
Do you remember?
But it was just growing and evolving. Like, what do we like? What are we gonna like? As far as a family, like my parents were like, what are we gonna allow for our kids to like, you know? So there was a lot of ingrained in them, be like simple, plain, can't show anything. You know, it's just
very
like we couldn't even wear
still very conservative.
and we couldn't even wear shorts. Like us boys were like, we couldn't wear
Like when you're
basketball shorts.
when you went swimming, you wore.
like even that. It was just like,
So that's interesting. So even though there was new freedoms that came with some modern conveniences, it was still a very conservative upbringing as far as how you dressed and what was, I imagine like your parents, like you said, like trying to figure out what's acceptable and what's not. We're not going to jump all the way into the world. We're going to hold some values that we want to adhere to. Like, did you get in your new house, did you have a TV?
We did. So we actually got our first TV in
the shop?
That was already in Montana. We had gotten our first TV. So a lot of things had changed, especially in that community. It's like there was more just open, like what does the world have to offer? Like we don't have these people that are telling us how to live our life anymore. So like what's life about? You know? So there was a lot of like exploring and experimenting. Like,
do you
what's gonna be
remember
good?
the first time you went to a movie theater?
I don't know if I remember the first time I went. Actually, no, that might not be true. I think my older sister actually took us. I think it was us 3 younger kids and my oldest sister. She took us to watch a movie.
Do you remember the movie?
I don't remember the movie. But
that had to be a trip.
It was exciting.
Yeah.
I remember like our when we had just a little box TV, you know, just that fat little thing, you know, and we'd throw in a tape and just watch the same movies over and over.
Wear them out.
Oh yeah.
What movies?
Just like cartoons. You know, you just sit there and watch the cartoons, or Little House on the Prairie. We watch Annie Griffith's show. You know, we have all these shows. We started getting into that. And we'd actually like sit down as a family. Yeah, and we would watch, you know, all these shows like the Annie Griffith. Like, and then, yeah, it was fun. It was like, oh, this new world. Like, what is
Can't imagine, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I grew up without a TV too. So we had one. It was like it was like this big.
Mm-hmm.
And not deep.
Yeah, it's like deeper than it is actually.
But everywhere we lived nowhere we lived on these ranches had, you know, even if you have an antenna, you're not getting any channels. So we had it in the living room, but on birthdays, we would go rent a VCR in the big case. It was like such a special occasion to rent a VCR.
Mm-hmm.
And I would get the same. I could get one. I could pick out a movie to rent. And I always got Man from the Snowy River.
Oh,
like every year.
Yeah,
it's my favorite movie.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, that's crazy. So even though I'm a million years older than you, we had the same childhood in some ways.
To watch the same movies and stuff. Yeah.
Do you remember like being 13 and like, okay, school is over, thank God?
I do remember that. That was a huge just relief off of me. I was like, finally, I don't have to deal with all this. And like, I cheated through school, and like,
we have more in common than I
thought. I would have, I would tell mom that I finished my, my school, and I would close the book and put it away so she wouldn't go and check it,
Yeah.
And it's like, she probably knows.
Yeah, she's like, we got.
I'm not fooling her. But like at some point, like she was like, she almost let it go. I got caught a couple times when I was younger. Like got caught cheating a couple times, and I remember being very, very heartbroken. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
letting my
such
mom
an
down.
idiot, and like I can't do it. I can't do it the right way, so I have to like try to find a way to cheat out of it.
Yeah, same.
And but yeah, it was. I remember. It was like the last year of my school, and I was just like, this is it. Like, I'm so happy.
Freedom.
Oh my gosh. I was like, I'm done with this. I don't ever want to look at it again.
And then you went straight to work for Dad?
Yeah. There was a point where it was like my dad had a whole crew of men, so he would go off to work and stuff like that. And in like around 13 and 14, I got a couple like odd jobs around the place. So like a couple farmers, they wanted to stack some hay, for the summer. So I would go and buck some hay bales. And we also had the farm to take care of. My dad had, he's got 600 acres of land, and there's probably 200 acres of just grass and hay fields.
Did you irrigate?
So we had to. No, water? We didn't have irrigation. It was just natural, and so we had like those things to do as well in the summertime. So there was a lot of like odd jobs that I did as well, but then transitioned into starting to go on the job sites with Dad. More often. Start wearing a tool belt at like 14, 15 years old. Wearing the tool belt.
Did you felt like you had arrived?
Oh yeah,
got your first tool belt.
Yeah,
like. It's a rite of passage into manhood.
Yeah.
To go to work. Did you get to travel with him?
I did, yeah. So we got to like just go to work together.
Was Rudy already doing that?
He was, yeah.
Yeah, Were you like so bummed out when he got to leave and go? Were you jealous?
Not really.
Because you were just enjoying your life.
Yeah, there was just too many things to do. I mean, there was so much to do. And like we all kind of had our own little just way of life, I guess. And my sisters were working in town,
Oh, they were? They got to go work in town?
Yeah. Yeah. And they got to go do that stuff. So we were kind of all over the place, doing our own thing.
Did you have any social life outside of your family?
Some.
Did you have
Yeah.
any friends?
We would go. We finally got a couple neighbors, and we had some people that were also like in the community in the same place kind of my parents were, and kind of still are. But just digging into the Hebrew roots movement. So there was a couple people that had moved in, and again, like that's a whole nother story in
But they
itself.
all had lots of kids too.
They had a couple kids. They had one kid that was our age, and we did a lot of things together with him. And we would go and go out in the woods, go down to the creek, catch some fish, shoot squirrels and eat them, roast them over a fire, and just we would do wild stuff together. So we had a good time. And then 4th of July rolls around, then you go into town, you watch the little mini parade, and you got to see people there and start connecting with people and stuff. It's funny because in those, not a lot of people knew us as far as like they never really met us, but the town that we lived in, or the closest town, which is like 5 miles from my parents' place, the population's like 300.
Oh, so the rumor mill, they had all sorts of thoughts about you.
Well, they were all good thoughts,
They were?
Yeah, and they were like all the Millers and stuff. So we would show up on 4th of July, and parade's going on, like all the Millers, they're here. So us kids would go, enter into the foot race, and we'd whoop their butts every time. Those little Amish kids out there barefoot, just ripping it up.
With your suspenders on.
These Miller kids, and that'd be like, for a couple of years, that was like the thing. It was like we would go and then we'd beat all the races, and
that's what you look
Millers
forward
always
to.
win.
What are they feeding those kids?
Yeah, that's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So into like later teenage years, are you full time with dad now?
Yes. Yep. Full time. And then Rudy, because I think Rudy got married in 2014. So he worked with my dad for a couple years after he got married, and then he went and did his own thing. So then it was just kind of like on us. So then we started going like full time, and then once Sam got out of school, then he joined in as well. So then it was just like us three.
Your dad and Sam and you?
Yeah.
And you're going all over?
Yep. We're just
the Rocky Mountains,
houses left and right, And that was for 4 or 5 years, was just straight just building homes with dad. Gone for weeks at a time.
And did he pay you by the hour or by the job? Or?
It was by the hour. Yeah. And that's a funny thing too. In the Amish, I don't know if it's in certain families, in certain communities, but it's kind of a thing to not pay your kids for like a long time. It's kind of a weird thing. I don't know how to describe it other than my parents didn't pay, like especially my older siblings, they didn't pay them for a long time because they got, in their minds, they got free room and board, food, all that, right?
And they raised them, so
me.
now you're on the
You're
payroll.
working for me. Yeah, exactly. So
without the pay.
Yeah.
Payroll without the pay.
So like from the age of like 15 to 16, 17, like those years were like I got paid pretty slim and didn't really know what to do with money. I treasured money because I was like I got so little of it, and then as I got older, then my dad started like paying, in like you're a man now, right? And it's like I started paying you more and trusting you with more. So
what did you do with your money?
I just saved it. I just put it in an envelope.
Really?
I just took all my
under
cash.
your bed?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Sam and I would always just talk. We would always like counting each other's money, be like, "Oh, dude,
I got $72."
Yeah, exactly. And we're just like, "Dude, we got some dollar bills. We're so happy," And we didn't do anything with it. We had nothing to really spend it on
because they're providing your clothes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They bought everything, and we didn't have to go buy our own things.
When you went to work on jobs, did you like stay in a motel or haul a camper or what?
It depended. There was certain jobs that were like we had to stay in a hotel, especially in the wintertime. That might have been rough. Be like, okay, we're gonna stay in a hotel. But a lot of times in the summer and especially spring too was like we would just stay in a camper.
And just haul a camper.
Yeah,
wherever.
my dad would just drag a camper to the job site. We just stay there for the whole week. Come back on the weekends. And
with some hindsight, like growing up with your dad, and now, how did you view your dad? Like, just like respect. I would imagine that in that type of environment growing up, like dad is kind of king, right? Like everything revolves around the earner and all of that. Like, were you scared of your dad? Were you, and I don't mean scared like
things,
you're going to get beat, but like, oh, dad's home, we're going to straighten up. Or when he'd come home from being gone for a long time, was it like, oh, dad's, the sheriff's back?
Not to that extent. There were certain times where I was like, I was afraid of what I would do. If I had done something, I was afraid like, oh, dad's going to be mad at me. But as far as like just him, who he was as a person, how I saw him it was very, like, I look back now and I feel like I didn't pay attention as much. I kind of blocked a lot of it out of how I just interacted with my dad and like how I looked at him. Like, I didn't think about it that much.
There's 9 of you.
I know.
There's so many hours in a day. There's so many hours in a day that he's not working.
Yeah.
Like, you probably didn't even know him that well.
No, and that's the thing. And like the only time, and I've said this multiple times, like the only time that I've spent with my dad a lot, and what I would say majority of the time that I spent with my dad was work. And that's all that was.
That's your relationship.
Everything was related around work. And, you know, there was no relationship. So it was very just like, you do your job, basically, and that's...
But when it's all you know, it's all you know.
Yeah.
It's not better or worse. It's just is what it is. It's like when you see these videos of these kids in Africa and they're smiling and happy and there's 10,000 flies around them and they're naked and it's like, that's all they know.
Yeah.
That's all you knew was we work. We work with dad. When we go, is he pretty stoic? Like, is there joking and laughter and working, or is it like
there's
head
always
down and you work?
There was always jokes and laughter for sure.
So there was like joy around work.
Yeah, there's joy. There was always laughter around the job site.
Because he liked what he was doing.
He did. Yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
Like that was his thing, is like building log homes. Like he loves doing that. And he wanted us to feel the same way about it, you know?
Do you think his vision was you guys staying with him
100%.
Forever?
Yeah.
And sure. Your family's growing up on that property and working with him and someday taking over.
Yeah. And he wanted us to take over what he has built, you know? And there was no really other option. There was no like asking like, is this something you really want to do? It was
just
like,
the plan.
There was no question like, what do you want to do?
I was just the vision.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you ever said, hey dad, I'm going to go try something else? Like, didn't you do the Alaska thing?
I did Alaska, but before that I went to Cyprus. And that wasn't
Cyprus.
Really work wise. That was just like a mission. That was a mission trip that I did.
To where's Cyprus?
Cyprus is an island in the Mediterranean Sea.
Oh.
So it's just off the shores or close to Israel. So it's just a little island out there.
Yeah, I knew Cyprus, but I was like, is there a Cyprus, Idaho? I don't know.
No, but that was kind of like, I'd really like...
What, a mission through
my
what?
Place. It was a discipleship school. So
through what?
It was just a company called GTS, so Gateways Beyond Cyprus. So yeah, they were based in Spokane, I think Spokane, Washington, and then through that.
How old were you when you did that?
I just turned 19.
And up till then, had always been working for dad. And he was supportive of you doing this mission? Yeah,
so part of my story too, it kind of led me to that decision. And even now looking back, I I thought about it the other day. I kind of wish I could go back with a different mindset to that discipleship school. Like, I feel like I went for the wrong reasons.
Well, you went for a 19-year-old reason, not a...
Exactly. So it wasn't, it was wonderful. But I don't think I got out of it what I wanted to. Like, looking back now, I wish I would have gotten more out of it and actually paid more
Did you over there to
attention.
build something or?
No, it was just simply just discipling, like how to be a disciple.
Oh,
And so it was a lot of just structure, a lot of like, you get up a certain time in the morning, you go, everybody praying together, you have worship in the morning, then you have a little session with somebody that came in and they have a talk, you make notes and stuff, and you get to talk with them, and then you have everything was structured kind of just like, what does it look like to be like walk in God's path, and what does it look like to just like be a servant of God, be that disciple. So it was a really good.
and you
like,
went by yourself?
I did, yeah.
That seems pretty brave.
It was like
This first time you've been on an airplane?
it wasn't. No, first time I was on an airplane was like at my sister's wedding.
Was that a
That
trip?
was a destination wedding. Yeah, dude, that was crazy.
I was a senior in high school before I ever was on an airplane, so I feel like even though there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, so how long were you in Cyprus?
The program was supposed to be like 4 months.
Oh, dang.
And I ended up only staying there for 2 months because it was right during COVID. So it was in 2000.
Oh, this is
So
recent.
I just turned 19. It was in 2000. I guess it would have been 2020, because that's when COVID came out. And I was in Israel at the time.
And they shut it all down.
Yeah, we were in Cyprus, and then we were going to do like this kind of just mission trip to Israel. We're going to go and just pray over the city, pray for people. And we got there and we stayed for like a week. We were planning on staying there for like 2 weeks. And in that week, we had gone and talked to some people, prayed for some people. And then like our leaders had reached out from Cyprus, and they were like, hey, this is what's going on in the world, because they didn't take away, but the program was like, you have no internet, you have no contact with people back home. So you had your phone, there was no like, oh, look at what's going on around the world, right? Everything was just, we had no idea. So our leaders had reached out and they were like, things are getting weird in this country, this world, like all around us. And like COVID is like this being, we're like, what's COVID? Right. And we're all sitting there like, we don't know what's going to happen, but what we've heard is that they're going to take people, or they're going to stop sending flights to like the US and stuff like that. They're going to shut down the airports. So we were all like, are we just going to be stuck here in Israel for who knows how long? And we ended up, they bought us tickets and we flew out like 2 days later and like just escaped all of it. So my trip got cut short, and
by a long way.
Yeah, and it's sad. Looking at it now, it's like, I do feel like there would have been a lot of things that I could have learned about myself and also just strengthen my relationship with God. But I didn't really get to finish it out. Kind of continue that journey.
So then you just came home and went back to...
Yeah, I just came home, and then after that, I went to Alaska.
To do commercial fishing?
Yeah.
How did that all... Because Rudy had went and done that before.
So both of my older sister, Marilyn, and then Rudy, they went up like the first year, and that was back in 2013. And so they went up fish because we had some neighbors that had some sons that went up to Alaska. They had lived in Alaska before, and they had some connections with commercial fishers up there. And so my older siblings tried it out. And I remember,
I love that Marilyn went and did it.
Yeah, she's done it multiple years in a row.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
because I know her and her wonderful family and husband and kiddos, but it doesn't surprise me. But I think it's pretty cool.
It is. It's so wonderful. Yeah, and so that it kind of, and especially like Rudy as an older brother, role model for me, and like seeing my older siblings do this cool, crazy, wild thing. Right, you go into Alaska and you're living on a boat, and hearing all the stories, like it's just wild. I loved it. And something kind of grabbed me. It's like, I hope that one day I could go and do that as well. So yeah, after I got back from Cyprus, I was just like, I don't really know what I want to do. And then I got a message from one of their previous captains. It was like, hey, I know your siblings and I know they work well. Like, would you want to come and work with me? So I was like, this is a good opportunity for me to go and just do something different. So I did. And it was one of the most wonderful summers that I can remember. It was just so free.
What did you love about it?
I think what I really liked, it was just solitude. There was like no people. You didn't have to think about paying bills. You didn't think about where's my next meal gonna, come up from, all these things are just like, it was nobody around me, but you're just on a boat looking at this beautiful water, this beautiful scenery. You get to catch these fish. You get to do wild things,
Because it's your deep sea fishing, right? But you're close to the shore. Like you can see land, right?
For
so
sure.
It's not like you're
you're in the coves and making sets.
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah. So it was just the beauty of all of it, and also just like it felt restful for me, I feel. So it was just kind of like I can breathe. I don't have to really talk to anybody. I don't have to interact. It was just I can be me. I can be.
Yeah, and growing up in your family dynamic, like there's no solitude.
Yeah.
When you're living how you just described your whole life. Like, so that's interesting that's what was captivated you and pulled you in, was just the piece of it all of like, oh, I don't have to worry about anybody else or anything else. I have a job and all my needs are taken care of.
Yeah, it was a freeing time. Like I loved it. Just fell in love with everything up there. And I've gone back a couple times since. Just been great. Like
it's never like the first time though.
It's not.
Yeah.
But it just still, Alaska just still has a piece of my heart because I love it so much. It's just that wild, that unknown that intrigues me.
Adventure.
Yeah. And I love like survival videos. And like I love like people who do wild shit,
Yeah, come on.
And like they rough it out, right? And I love watching those videos. And like so going to Alaska is like I'm doing this wild thing, you know? And
dangerous.
And dangerous.
Yeah.
And dangerous, yeah.
That's
yeah, we had a pretty dangerous.
What happened?
So last season, which was just would have been last year. My younger sister, and my younger brother, we all went to Alaska together to go fish.
On the same boat?
On the same boat. We finally, we talked my younger brother into going because my younger sister wanted to go. And Sam, he wasn't sure if he wanted to go. And we kind of talked him into going. So we were a crew. Like we were
the crew.
We were the crew.
So we
had our captain.
The captain and you three?
Those were the only people on the boat. And it ended up being really good. Like after that whole season, like looking back now, it's like we did so well. Like we had a lot of fun. And it's always kind of like that when you come back from, like when you go fishing, you come back and it's everything, all those moments of just like there's nothing to do and stuff where you think there's nothing to do. Like it's like, oh man, this is terrible. This sucks. I kind of don't want to do this anymore. But then you come back and you look back at all the moments that you did have and the good things. And you're like, I want to go back.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But the scary part was our net had gone underneath our boat and it got caught up in our prop and we were drifting towards the shoreline going into the rocks. And so we couldn't move and our skiff died. I was the skiff man, so I'm sitting on the skiff, this little boat, and this thing.
That's the rescue boat that's gonna save you guys.
Yeah, exactly. We could, I could have pulled us out into the open so we could get it figured out, but we were drifting, and then my skiff died, and well, that was the cause of it in the beginning. My skiff had died, and so I couldn't pull the boat. Excuse me, I couldn't pull the boat the direction it should be. So when my skiff died, the boat just kind of started drifting, and
Into the net.
then we wanted to move the boat because we had the net out, and then the net got caught up in the prop. So we were starting to drift. We're trying to call people because there's people around us also fishing. So we're trying to get on the radio and try to get people to like, hey, we need help.
Mayday.
Yeah, we need help. Somebody needs to come tow us out of this situation. And we had scuba gear. And so Sam crazily volunteered, never scuba dived in his life. And so he just stripped down. We didn't have a wetsuit either. And the water is like
so
cold water. So he plunged in there. We had a rope down there. We had a rope attached to him. No, we didn't have a rope. It was dumb. It was a really dumb situation because we were panicking at this point. We're drifting towards the shore. So he dives in there with we had the little air compressor with the hose, going to his mouth so he could breathe. He has goggles on. He goes down there and he's just down there for like a minute. And we're just like, is he going to let us know when...
How's it
going? Like, yeah, and how is he going to let us know? So, like, our captain, Jason, he's like my age. And he's like, dude, he's starting to panic. It's all underneath him. He's the captain, right? So he jumps into the water as well and starts like plunging down there to see if he can just see Sam. And the boat is thick. So you have to go down,
long way.
Yeah, a good like 8 feet before, 6 or... Yeah, at least 8 feet before you get underneath the boat where the props are. And the props are pushed back another 10 feet from the back. So we had to plunge down there without any respiration mask or anything. You couldn't breathe down there. So you're just holding your breath in cold, freezing water, going down there, and it's just dark. And he's like, I can't see anything. He would just come up, plunge down. He's like, I can't see him. He's like, what? We don't know what's going on.
Oh my gosh. And it's your brother.
Yeah. And he's just cold. So I'm like, okay, I'll jump in too. So I jumped in, captain got out. I started plunging down there. Finally got down there where I could see his flippers kind of moving around because he had his little flippers on. And I was like, he's still moving around down there, but like, who knows what could happen? You could get caught up in there somehow, especially in the net being right there. Who knows what could happen? And yeah, dude.
And hypothermia has got to be like...
Yeah, we've done cold plunges before, but you kidding me?
For
that
2
long?
minutes.
And yeah, so we finally...
And meanwhile, you're still drifting towards... Is it rocks you're drifting towards?
Oh, yeah.
And waves oh my gosh.
So then we finally got... there was a big tender, which they take your fish. The tenders are the really large boats out there, and they'll take your fish from your small little fisher boats. And they finally pulled up closer because they heard, what was going on. So they pulled up closer and they had a skiff close by. And he started coming over to our boat and we started hooking that up. But my brother's still underneath. Sam was still underneath there. And finally he comes up. We're like, oh my God.
Is he purple?
He's pretty pink. Yeah. And he's been on there for a while. And we're just like, you should have let us know, but also at the same time, we're idiots for not having a better system to like letting us know. Yeah, exactly. Like there was no communication. So it was like this whole thing, like we sent you down there, but there's no communication of like, let us know if you can do it or not, but it was just, he went down there and cut all of the stuff out of the props. And he was just like, yeah, I just felt like I needed to get it done. We're like, okay, but still like, oh my gosh, we were worried. We were
like, yeah, because like you said, he could have got easily caught in the net himself.
And just down there and lost his, little mouthpiece there to breathe from. And like, I don't know. So many things could have gone wrong. But anyways, he came up and we're like, my goodness.
Was like hypothermia trying to set in?
No, it was just super, super cold. And the sun was out, which was nice. So we finally got a little warmed up. And then they had the skiff guy tow us over to the tender, and we hooked up with them and got the rest of our net on board somehow. Lost all our fish that was in that set, but hooked up to them. They let us take showers on the boat, so we got to take warm showers. No, we do not have that. Well, we have like this little shower in the bathroom. There's like the toilet, and then the shower, going right directly on the toilet, but. You could clean yourself if you wanted to, but they let us take hot showers. They had fresh towels and everything, and got all our fish off our boat, and we like, well, we're done for the day. So we ended up going back into town. We had to fix our net because it was like at least 25-foot hole.
They had to cut out.
Yeah, and there was a couple sections too where we had to like mend all that. It was just big sections of torn up net.
I can't imagine, and how time must have been standing still while he was underneath there.
It felt like so long. We're like, what is going through your head right now? Like,
and he's down there, and he can't see that good either.
No, it's
he didn't have a flashlight or anything.
No, the only thing I could see was the back end of his flipper, so I couldn't see his body. I couldn't see what he was actually doing.
And he's down there with a knife.
Yeah, down there with a knife,
like his pocket knife.
Dude, yeah.
Does he still have that pocket knife?
No, it was one of the captain's knives, so he like strapped it on. You know,
dang, he needs to get that back somehow. It's like.
But how crazy?
That's scary, dude.
So yeah, there's definitely some scary
that's why like commercial fishing's like one of the most dangerous jobs there is because things like that happen, right?
Yeah.
Boats, and those boats aren't that big.
No.
How long are they?
Like there's size limits on them, so you can only have like a 52-foot boat. So that's like the largest, but a lot of boats don't even get up to that size.
Dang.
Like they'll just be smaller.
What an adventure, though.
Oh
like you said, like to live through things like that. It also brings you closer.
It does.
Yeah.
So that was a special moment that we shared together, I guess.
Especially for, he probably has a different version of how special that moment is.
I don't think he thought about it all that much.
That's crazy.
But I think he should. I think he should think about it a little bit more. Because that's
gnarly.
Got some balls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't even sure he wanted to go fishing up there and then to be the one that jumps in there.
Yeah.
Was your sister freaking out?
Oh, yeah. We were all just
like, what's happening?
Worried. Like, we're like, what do we do at this point?
Well, the point, part of the point is the adventure, but also, I mean, you go do that because a young 20-something, late teenage age man and your sister, like, you can go make some cash.
Yeah, you can. You have the opportunity to do that. But it just all depends on, price of the fish that year and how many fish you can catch.
So you've had good years and not so good years?
I personally have fallen under the not so good year.
All 3 times?
Yeah. I mean,
I knew you the last time you went.
Yeah.
And I remember coming home and like making jokes like, where you been at the bank cashing all your money? And you're like, actually, I would have made more money if I stayed home and worked at the gas station.
So true. So true. Yeah. So it's very hit and miss. And because there's waves with fishing, there's years where it's really hot and there's a lot of, certain type of fish and the price is good.
It's like anything. Yeah. It's commodity.
And you have opportunities to make really good money. And I just haven't capitalized, which I don't.
You weren't doing it just for that.
No, I wasn't doing it just for that.
Yeah. You've never even mentioned that. I brought it up.
Yeah.
You were doing it for the adventure.
And honestly, with money in general, I look at my life and I don't view money as the most important thing.
Yeah.
Relationship and how I treat people is way more important than money.
Yeah.
I don't think about.
I love that about you. One of the many things.
One of the many things.
Yeah. And I don't want to forget this. I don't know if in these cameras you can see this beautiful podcast table that you made for me of this live edge. What kind of wood is this?
This is maple.
And you put these beautiful, what are those butterfly?
Oh, these are called bow ties.
Bow ties, yeah.
Yeah. So
they're a little crack.
A little inlay. Yeah. Keep that crack together. Keep it from separating.
Well, I think it's just so cool because when I asked you to build this and we were talking about it and drawing it up, I was like, I want this little thing to slide out for my laptop to sit on. And there's like no hardware in it. It's all like dowels and like this whole thing's made with no metal.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
And it's just all stuff that you learned growing up and
exactly.
And also how creative you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent about a month in the shop every evening, almost every evening. This is back home, and I had no real plan of what I was going to build, but I knew I was going to build something. So I started building a kitchen table. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm building a kitchen table, right? Or a dining table. And I was like, it'll be enough for like 8 people. Be like, perfect. You know, a nice little family. And then I was like, I need to make some chairs for it. So I started making chairs for it. And like, I spent just evenings. So work during the day, you know, and then the evening I'd go in the shop and work late until the night until mom would come out and be like, hey, dinner's ready. You know, if you want to come in and eat. I'm like, okay, I'll be in there in like an hour, you know? So I spent like, I love to create things. So like this was one of my greatest creations.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love it so much. And I love that it's like something you grew up in, but you've also had the freedom to not do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that you still love to do. And it's like your creative outlet to create furniture. And you build all these cool custom pipes that are sitting here that you've made for so many Wild Courage dudes. I think everybody has one.
Almost.
The coolest thing was when I was going to spend the day with John Eldridge. I'm like, hey, make a pipe for John, and you put like Wild at Heart engraved in it, and to give that to him on your behalf. And he had just lost his pipe, so it was like so cool. And then John being so gracious, I'm like, can I video you like talking to Mark? And I got to send you a video of
that's such a wonder. I love that video. So
yeah, it was so fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
So I definitely lean into that, you know, using the skills that I have to create certain things. But that's all part of my story. But a lot of it's, you know, in here.
Yeah. Well, that kind of brings us up to the time, right, where we met.
Yeah. So
how did you get to Emmett?
In 2020, after I came back from fishing that summer, my first summer, I went and worked for my brother-in-law back in Libby, Montana, like where my original community. So I went back and worked for my brother-in-law for a summer, just doing commercial roofing. And so it was kind of something different, you know. It was like I liked it because it wasn't just the same build a log home, you know, do the same things.
Was your dad bummed out when you started to like venture out and like do the...
He didn't express very much as far as like bummed out. He just kind of like let it go.
You were like, hey, Dad, I think I'm going to go back to Libby. And
yeah, and I don't even remember like really asking. It was just kind of like, I'm doing this. And yeah, like he didn't have
any
response.
emotions or anything towards it.
No. So I worked with him for a summer, and that was really good. And then I ended up moving back and started working with my dad again for a little while. And in that process, Sam and I were like, you know, what do we want to do with our lives? Like, where are we going? You know, and we knew, you know, we've been in Emmett a couple times, you know, just seeing Rudy and Marilyn and seeing our siblings and stuff. And we were like, man, we want to be closer to our brother, you know. So we just kind of made the decision to move to Emmett. And we're like, I don't know what this looks like. I have no idea, like, what are we going to do, right? Like, what's our income? Like, what are we going to do for work? Like, all these things where we're going to live. And Rudy and Serena graciously opened up their house and let us stay there. And yeah, we lived there for like a full year and a half. And lived there a long
Shout out to Serena.
Yeah, seriously, my goodness. But how wonderful, you know, of them, and how gracious of them to open that up for us.
And you went to work for Michael, right?
I did not.
Oh, Rudy was working.
So Rudy was working for Michael.
Your brother-in-law.
Yeah. And I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know, and to this day I still don't know exactly what I want. But in that time when I moved down there, I was like, I kind of wanted to do the things that I knew how to do. So I was like, oh, I'll start building stuff in the shop, and like maybe that'll start taking off. But with no knowledge of what it takes to actually like become successful in that. So I was just kind of like free free balling it, you know, for like a year. I was just kind of like, I would build stuff in the shop and then I would like sell it to certain people, but then I would just have a lot of time off and just goof around and go hunting and
Make a lot of pipes.
yeah, go up in the mountains, you know, go shed hunting and stuff like that. So that I didn't do a whole lot in that year, but I did do a lot of fun stuff, I guess, just by myself. Like it was a lot of just by myself.
And that's kind of when we started hanging out. Because when you moved
Yeah.
here, like you said, that's how we met. You came to a fire and it's like, oh, Rudy's brothers. I think Sam came. Yeah, Sam came with you too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like we embraced you guys pretty quickly.
Oh my gosh. Well, I want to talk about that because that was the beginning of all of this, you know, learning of who I am and where I've fallen short, but also like, where do I need to heal and where do I need to show up for myself and where do I need to show up for other people? So this whole journey of like realizing that I have a story and I am important, you know, all of this came from Wild Courage. And Rudy had said something, there's this men's group, and he had told us a story because you guys went on a retreat earlier in that year. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like I knew nothing about it, right? But I started listening to the podcast and I listened to Mike's story, and I remember crying so deeply. And I didn't know why, but I knew that I was alone and I felt very, very alone. And I felt like I was on an island and I had nowhere to go. And I just remember the first time I sat in that chair at the first fire I went to. And all I said was, I feel like I'm on an island. That's all I could say. I had no other words for it. But all I felt was just, I'm on an island. And I remember you were sitting across the room from me. And you looked at me. And you told me, no matter what you do, from now on, I will always love you. And you didn't even know me. You didn't know idea who I was. And you just told me you belong here. That was my first encounter with you. When I first met you, you hadn't even met me. But you just looked at me and you started crying with me and you were like feeling my pain and you just said, I love you. You belong here. That's the first time that I felt like somebody actually really unconditionally loved me. There was nothing that I could do or have done that stopped you from loving me. And that's what started this journey. Is this. Where I'm sitting now is because of that first time that you looked at me and you told me that you loved me.
I just, from my perspective, and we had done a bunch of fires at that point, I just saw this like a purity and innocence in you that I was like, I don't think this young man's ever been truly seen in his whole life. And I didn't know your story. I mean, I learned a lot of your story today, and we've spent a lot of time together.
We have.
And I can't explain it. I just was so, just drawn to you. And like, this is someone worth fighting for and with and come alongside to, not to fix. Because that can be the narrative, right? Like, I gotta get myself set up to be worthy of love. And I just remember feeling like you're already worthy of love. You just don't know it yet. And that's taken us on this beautiful journey that you and I have got to go on.
Yeah.
And we've spent a lot of time sitting by the fire, just me and you.
Right here in this room, too.
Yeah. A lot of time.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
I know. It's already been years.
Yeah, it's just, you know, when we started this whole thing, it was like, and we still don't know what it means or looks like, or because it doesn't need to mean or look like anything anyway, other than what it's turned into. And just to get to see you being surrounded by community, because this has grown. I know you've spent time with not just me, but I know you spent time with other guys in this community, and which is the brotherhood that has kind of turned into like the natural progression of what happens at a fire is like, let's take this outside of this barn and go live life together and support each other and do life together. And because you get to live so close to me, we've got to do that. And to watch you go on the journey of doing the work and change, because it hasn't been easy for you.
No.
And there's been a lot of times where, for a long time, where the sadness was like at the forefront of who you were and trying to figure out why. And we met last Friday and you just shared a whole bunch of beautiful things to me that to me just makes all of this wild courage is like, if it was just for Mark, it would have been worth it, because you're worth it and you've been worth it. And I've never, I mean, I feel like I repeat myself all the time, but had I not gone on the journey of finding unconditional love, you, like I always say, you can't give away what you don't have. And I feel like in my journey, I've got to experience the Father's unconditional love to a point where I hope you experience me this way, but I really don't need anything from you.
Yeah.
I don't need you to show up put together, because my codependency isn't on, I can't be okay unless Mark's okay.
Exactly.
Like I hope you feel that you, in all the times and years that we've got to spend together, I think we were meeting every week.
Every Friday morning.
For a long time.
Yeah. It was like a whole winter.
Yeah. And you just got to show up wherever you were at. And I just got to sit with you in it. And what an honor for me that you would trust me with all the things and get to see you go on this journey and turn into that sadness into a smile.
Yeah.
Is like the greatest gift you could ever give me. That and these cool pipes you make me all the time.
I'm having to remake them all the time. This one right here is just broken.
Yeah. But that pipe is like a representation of us, right? Like it's this beautiful thing that's been created and it got a crack in it.
Yeah.
And then it's not working properly. And then it gets to go back to the place where it was created, much like we do when we're in communion with God.
Yeah.
And get repaired.
Yeah.
And to be still the beautiful thing that was created to be. And when you bring this pipe back to me for the retreat after you've repaired it, it's going to look a little different.
Yep.
But the beauty's going to be same. It's going to be stronger. And it's going to be better than it was. And that's kind of like this beautiful analogy of, I think, your journey of like one of 9, not seen, not heard, not because nobody wanted to, because maybe not everybody had the tools, or like I have 4. I'm overwhelmed most of the time, so I can imagine, what your parents.
Yeah.
They did amazing.
I know them.
They did amazing, because I've got to experience a lot of your siblings, and I find them all to be beautiful, beautiful people doing beautiful things in this world, and they got a lot right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They've done a good job.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And what would you say to, how old are you today?
24.
24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's this common theme, right? Because there's young guys your age that come to the fires, and it's always like, I feel late, I feel behind, I feel like I don't got my shit together.
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned in that space of feeling that? Because you've felt that way. Like, what is it all about? What should I be doing? I don't know. Like right now, you've committed to something for a year.
For sure. Yeah.
And you're crushing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And you're doing great things, and you're learning a lot, and you're a part of something that's bigger than you.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Right? To get to work with your brother who has his own company now with our friend Josh Stinson.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a part of this thing.
Yeah.
And they're not the same company without you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's forever, but you've committed to it over us having many conversations about it.
Yeah.
And living.
Like leading up to the decision, right? It's like, am I going to do this?
You have to live in the city in an apartment.
Yeah.
And we've got to walk through all those different scenarios.
Yeah. And you've pushed me towards those decisions to like help, you know, and just like, you got this, right? It's like just a little, you got this. Just continue, go do it. Do the hard things, right?
Yeah, because I just saw you were on this path of like, I don't know what to do. It was like you started spinning out.
Mm.
And when we aren't putting our hands to something, not good things come of it because you were so in your own head.
Yeah.
And some of your struggles were like on a loop, like we all get. And it's like, well, go lean into the hard thing because that's where all the fruit comes.
Yeah.
And all the victories come through leaning into the hard things. And you're doing that now. But what would you say to the young 20-something-year-old that's like, feels like they're on an island, feels like you did when you showed up? Like before you really started looking at that question that I proposed to you a long time ago of why do you show up the way that you do? How would you encourage them? What have you learned in the last few years about yourself and your own story? Why is your story important and matter?
That's a big question.
I know, and I think I just asked you 12 questions in one. So pick one.
Oh man. That's great. I think one of the more important things that I've learned from this journey has been, how do you listen to people? Like, how do you truly just listen and be slow to speak, you know, slow to anger. And I feel like that's one of the most treasured things that I take out of this, is that I'm starting to learn how to just listen to people and their story and like feel that with them. And also patience for me has been very, very big. And just it's just yesterday, God had shown me how patient he was and still is with me. And it just reminded me too of how patient I need to be with myself and with other people. You know, don't judge unless you know them, you know, and honor. I mean, all the things that are written on the board, right? Story, learning how to tell your story, figure out who you are as a person, a man, a brother, you know, Like, what does that look like? And looking at where I was back then and now, it's like, you're doing good. Like, you're doing good. You're doing the hard things. And stuck in that loop, a lot of times you do get lost. Like you said, you're just stuck in a loop. And when you start setting your eyes on God and that relationship, like, just work on your relationship with God and everything else will follow.
Yeah, that's been a beautiful journey you've been on to see him show up for you in ways that weren't your dad's, your mom's, your family's, but your personal like walk with him. That's not been, it's been rocky.
Yeah.
Partly, I think you said earlier, just like, what does unconditional love look like? And like not beating yourself up, like to have compassion for yourself and patience and kindness. Like that's the beautiful thing I've seen you really dig into and lean into. And that's what's you've changed so much in, is from that walking in here with your head down and like, oh, I suck at, and I blew it here and I blew it there and I did this. And to see you have compassion for yourself. And now, because you have it, to see you give it away, and some of the things that you've shared with me that you're doing outside of, in our community, but outside of the fire, is like, that's fruit of you being in service to something bigger than yourself. But there's this hidden season that you've had to go on, that I've had to go on, that I think everyone needs to go on. Because again, you can't give away what you don't have, right? So you went into the secret place. You had to go inside your story to get healing and get wholeness. And now you show up at a fire and you're the one giving away hope. You're the one reaching out to people that nobody knows about, that I'm hearing from other people. It's like, Mark's doing this and did that. And then as we've, started meeting again on Fridays, like telling me these beautiful things that you're doing with the Brotherhood, with guys that are in this community. It's because you have it to give away now. You love yourself and you have compassion for yourself, and all the things you just shared is like, that's the point of it. But if we don't go into our story and get healing and some wholeness in those areas, then we just have walls.
Yeah.
And then we just go be fishermen, isolated our whole lives. And I'm not talking bad about it. Like we all need to go on those pilgrimages to go on adventure and go into seasons of solitude. But the hope and the healing really is within community. It's the same thing that hurts us is what can heal us if it's done with the right people. Right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And you shared something with me last Friday that I don't think you'll mind me sharing, but you had experienced a breakthrough in that part. That's your story, but you had reached out to Nick Morgan, who I think you met at a retreat, right? Or a fire or something.
He was at the retreat.
Yeah, it was.
He's at my first retreat.
And Nick's been on the podcast and is someone else that I've got the honor and privilege to be in his life. And I didn't know that, I can't keep track who met who. And, we've had enough retreats or now enough guys have come through the fires and retreats and all of it. And something happened inside of me that was significant and profound when you said, I reached out to Nick to share this breakthrough with him. I didn't even remember that you guys had met. And two people that I love and care about so much and have got to walk with through a bunch of stuff, both of you. And I'm like, I'm not your dad. I'm not Nick's dad at all. But I felt this like fatherly, overwhelmed love and like gratitude that that this is happening in this community. Like, we've always dreamt about it. Me and Doc and Nick and Brian and Rob and all the people that have ever been involved with the beginning of this, of like, what would this look like? And that really hit home to me when you told me that you and Nick had this beautiful conversation about a breakthrough that you had and you wanted to share it with someone.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it right, I don't think, but it just meant everything to me that there's healthy men, young men, and you and I talk often about what kind of husband are you going to be having gone on the journey versus if you hadn't, what kind of father you're going to be. And I just cannot wait to meet your wife someday and your kids, dude, because you're going to be amazing. And it's because you've done the hard things.
Yeah.
It's because you've done the work and are continuing to do the work. And I couldn't be more proud of you.
Thank you.
And you just bring so much joy to me and everyone that gets the privilege to get to know you. You're very soft-spoken, and you're in touch with your emotions, and you're a badass hunter and fisherman, and you do all the things. Like, you're the picture of, I get asked when I'm on other podcasts, like, what does healthy masculinity look like? And I think about you in that age group. Like, this is what it looks like. You're it. You're the picture of healthy masculinity, because you're in touch with your story and where you've been, and you have a very unique background. Nobody grows up like you, dude.
No.
Nobody.
No.
And for better and worse, it's your story. And it's and you said yes to the journey. And now you're just a gift to everyone that gets to, again, the pleasure of getting to know you and have a conversation with you and experience you the way that I do. And I knew it was in you the first time I met you. And so I couldn't be prouder of you.
Thank you. I feel like somehow I knew that you knew, but I didn't know yet. You know? It was like,
crazy.
I knew that you could see something in me because you had expressed it before, where it's like, you'd said it like, it's like, I'm on the journey. I've been on the journey longer, and I can look back and I can see you. He's like, you're doing it right now. I know you got this.
Yeah.
And so somehow I knew, but I didn't know that I had it in me. I didn't believe it for myself.
Yeah, and that's the power of hope, is when we don't believe something to be true about ourselves, but to trust somebody else in that space to say, oh no, you have what it takes. I see it in you, even though you don't see it in yourself, because we're all our own worst critics usually, right? And we all need help in the journey, and we all need someone in our corner. And yeah, it's been a great honor of mine to get to be in your corner and to see where you're headed. And you haven't arrived, like none of us have.
No.
Or ever will.
No, like I just said the other day, it's like God encountered me in a way that I hadn't thought about, just patience, you know? And like everything is learning and everything is changing. And I've found too that how beautiful, I've found the beauty in the challenges and the things that we face from day to day. They suck. There are so many challenges that I go through every day that they seem minor, but they suck because they slow you down. They make you think of, like, sometimes you talk bad about yourself and you're like, damn it, I don't want to be talking bad about myself. Like, those are also challenges that I have to overcome. But like, I have to love myself in this time, in this moment. And when I get to do that, when I get to look inward and be like, thank you, God, thank you for making me. Thank you for the heart that you gave me. And when those challenges can be overcome and you see the fruit on the other end of it, that's when it's so beautiful. And I find the challenges to be some of the best things in life because of what comes out of it. And you can't replace that. You can't You can't just make that out of nothing. You have to go through the experience. You have to go through the challenge, the hard things. But you got to come out the other end and be like, yes, look how beautiful this is. And look where I am at. And I found that through my life has been this figuring out who I am, right? Like, what do I stand for? But like, what's my relationship with God? And I found my challenges to be some of the best things because, and I've told you this before, I've prayed so many times for kindness, for love, for humility, for honor, for strength. And I now I'm starting to see that God puts us through those challenges. He puts me through those challenges to become the person that I've always prayed I would be. All those challenges are coming up, but through the other end, you come out and you're like, I can love now. I can be honorable
So
now.
good.
I can be kind now. I can be patient now. And so like all these prayers they're good, but I have to go through the challenge before I can get to the person that I'm praying that I would be,
Yeah, we don't like that part sometimes.
No.
I love how you said that because it's so true. It's what I'm trying to teach my young sons is like lean into the hard things because that's where we get strong. That's where all the fruit comes from, like you just beautifully said. So I love that. Well, I think that answered my question.
Good.
Yeah. I love you.
Love you too.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to see where this is all heading.
I know, me too.
With you and your journey, and keep going, bro.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. I love you.
Love you too.
Adios, guys.